The Chiropractic Philanthropist, Episode 30.
Starting your own practice is hard for many chiropractors. It's riddled with both struggles and successes. But here at the Chiropractic Philanthropist, we make it easy by getting chiropractors to share their struggles and lessons learned in life and practice so that you don't have to make the same mistakes. And now, here's your host, Dr. Ed Osborne.
My guest today is not a chiropractor. It is actually Jim Chester. He is the director and creator of the movie Adjusted, a documentary about chiropractic. He believes 100% in this method of healthcare and how it connects us to our positive well-being. Jim is focusing his present life and future to helping chiropractic thrive through producing this chiropractic documentary, Adjusted. Jim has an extensive background in multimedia and graphic communication with an emphasis on journalism. He is the perfect person for this project. He currently actually works out of a clinic where he is a traction technician specialist for a CBP clinic. Over the past 5 years, he has produced multiple videos and jobs for chiropractic and for chiropractors. From technique videos to patient testimonials, in-clinic specific commercials to documentaries. Jim believes he can help people connect the dots for chiropractic and the profession. That's why he's creating Adjusted. This is a project that the Chiropractic Philanthropist is 110% behind. And that is why Jim is here to speak to you today, so that he can tell you about this project and get you excited about it. Now, before we start our episode today, I want to take a moment and actually thank one of our sponsors, and that is actually NeuroInfinity, and you can find them at neuroinfinity.com. I can't tell you how important it is to keep this project alive, and it's companies like NeuroInfinity who is 100% behind what we're doing here and providing you amazing content that keeps this, again, this project, the Chiropractic Philanthropist, alive. So I want you to take the stress out of delivering your care program recommendations with patients. Go to neuroinfinity.com and start giving the big idea and getting the big idea across to your patients about how stress affects the nerve system and function. Take them from structure to function and to nerve system centered care. And that's what NeuroInfinity is all about. So that's neuroinfinity.com. I'm so very excited to introduce my guest today, and that is the director of the documentary, the chiropractic documentary, Adjusted, Jim Chester. Jim, how are you doing today?
Ed, I'm doing great. Living a good life out here in Colorado.
Well, you are totally immersed in chiropractic, and I can't tell you, but I'm so impressed with you and this project that you're working on, and that's why I have you on the Chiropractic Philanthropist today, because I don't just invite anyone onto this podcast, by the way. You have to add value to our listeners, and I think that you're going to do that today. So thank you so much for accepting our invitation as well.
Hey, Ed, I think it's a great opportunity for me to share the message of Adjusted.
Well, at the Chiropractic Philanthropist, we actually have a philosophy, and that philosophy is that we are all more alike than we are different. And I know that, again, that you are a chiropractic evangelist, you could say. But what I would like you to do is just in the introduction, I gave a little bit of a introduction and just scratch the surface about you. Could you expand on that? Tell us a little bit more about you, the person, but also, what motivated you to actually create this documentary, to put all this energy into this project?
Well, Ed, that's a great question, and I think it's a great introduction for the project. And first of all, I think it's important for everybody to understand that chiropractic is a healthcare system that can work for them. And I think that enough people are getting it, but we have the ability to reach more. And with Adjusted, we're going to open up a lot more eyes to the power of chiropractic. And I know that the people that get it are the chiropractors, and the people that get it are the people under care, but there's still a great amount of people out there that are not getting the message. So I think that this movie is going to help everybody that needs the message to be able to get the message.
Outstanding. And you know what? Thank you for that. I mean, I want our listeners to really walk away today with, a real strong vision and picture. I want you to paint a picture for them about this project so they can get behind it. But first of all, what I'd like to start with is actually a success quote. Do you have a success quote you'd like to drop on doctors today?
Well, this is something I learned from being at Palmer campus as a patient, actually. I was walking by the office of Dr. Kearns, and I saw this on his wall and right outside the office, and it said, "What I do today is important because I'm exchanging a day of my life for it." And since I read that always resonated with me. And it always resonated with me as a patient, and it resonated me even more for the doctor. And I believe that the doctors are giving everything that they can on a daily basis as their service. And by giving their service every day, they are taking the total value in what they do on that day and giving themselves and their knowledge and what they've gone to become to their communities. I think it's integral for people to take value in what they do on a daily basis. And I think that the doctors at Chiropractic have it right on point. I think that they are serving their communities and they're valuing every day that they put into their offices in their communities.
Awesome. Thank you for that. I mean, I love what you're saying here. I love the part of that quote where it says, like, I'm exchanging a day of my life for it. It's so true. I mean, how valuable. I mean, time is actually my most valuable asset. I mean, you never get it back. Agree. Yeah. And I'm always very conscious of time. Let's move into or transition into the core values. I would love to know, what drives you? What is your purpose and drive in life? And that's intertwined again with our core values. So do you have 3 core values you'd like to share with doctors today?
Well, I think that one of the core values is when it comes to chiropractic care, I think it's very integral for the profession to provide affordable health care. And I think that's the more important thing to getting people healthy is making it to a paradigm that's affordable for them. And I think that sometimes people in the past have thought of chiropractic care as an elitist care.
Oh.
And I've also thought of people only considering chiropractic as if their insurance companies will pay for it. And we all know how the insurance companies have kind of muddled the waters for chiropractic. And we all know that we need to be more transparent and allow everybody to be adjusted. So I would say that's my first core value, is make it affordable.
Cool. How about number 2 and 3?
Well, personally, I think that chiropractors are they're loving and they're developing, and I'm doing the same for myself. I may not be a doctor and I may not be a chiropractor, but I know the better I've developed myself with love, and the more that I develop myself with giving, and the more that I develop myself with serving my community more, the more that transcends into the core value of what chiropractic stands for. And I hope that the viewers of Adjusted consider chiropractic as the choice for their health care and understand that their body is the life force and that chiropractic can provide a maintenance to that life force. So I would say that, affordability, number 1, I would say that loving each other more as people and giving care that matters more to the people that need it is probably my second core value, because I've been working in clinics now going on 4 years, and I know how important it is to show up and be present. Mm-hmm. It's not a job where you can just show up and hide. You show up and people are ready to get fired up by your enthusiasm for what you're providing to them. And, there's a reason why they trust you to give them the advice that you do and the care that you provide to them. So finding myself in the trenches, so to say, with the chiropractic profession on a day-to-day basis, which I work in full time, I think it's a huge thing to love the patient the most that you can.
And let me ask you this question, and I get this question myself, Jim, with the podcast, and this will be during our pre-chat or post-chat with, when we're off the air with doctors, and they'll go, Ed, what's in it for you? Because people don't realize how much time, how much energy goes into the production of a podcast. So I can't even imagine how much time goes into creating a documentary. So what's in it for you?
Well, Ed, the relationships that I build within doing this movie have already changed my life.
Yeah.
You know, I believe that there's incremental change every day to us, and that we should always change at a pace to elevate ourselves to a greater person. And I think that's one of the things that making this movie is doing for me, is it's giving me a chance to arrive. It's giving me a chance to make myself into the person that I've always believed that I should be, that person. And now it's building the believability in the market with not only the chiropractors, but the healthcare profession. I want the healthcare profession to understand through this movie that I hope to attract everyone to understand the health benefits associated with chiropractic, because it saved my life. It's saved my spine, and it's given me the opportunity to now take my abilities and share that with everyone. And to even expound upon that question even further is, I don't have a 9-to-5 job. Mm-hmm. I wake up and I start working on something. I prepare myself for the week, just like everybody else does, and then I prepare myself daily on a very strict schedule to make sure that I'm itinerant to many different facets. So whether it's patient care at the practice or whether it's scheduling a podcast with you, I try to keep my schedule as tight and as tidy as possible so I can maintain a good life outside of all the work that I do.
So this project for you, it comes back to one of your core values, which is your number 2, which was like developing. I mean, it's helping to stretch you. I mean, personally, for me, the podcast has, you know, from a selfish perspective, it's been very therapeutic. I love talking to people such as yourself. It's very inspiring.
Well, the more you talk to more people, the more you realize, like you said earlier, the more that we're all more alike, and that we all share a certain core value when it comes to patient care, and when it comes to understanding our bodies better and being able to transcend what we learn to everyone that we have a chance to touch.
Jim, was there ever a time, you know, because we do like to take it to the ground level and get really, you know, very real. Is there ever a time where you encountered a challenge, maybe even with this project, where you just had a time where you go, you know what, I don't know how I'm going to make this happen, and a lesson that you learned from that? So a challenge?
Well, that was today. You know, I think that every day presents us some type of a challenge that we have to rise to the occasion for. And, you know, from day one, this was a brainchild of mine from 5 years ago. And now I feel like the brainchild is now a kindergartner. Mm. And I feel like I've nurtured that baby into something that's able to start growing. And now we're teaching the baby how to go out on its own. And eventually we're going to turn that into a PhD level person. And we're going to turn this movie into something that is actually going to be a teachable product, and something that people can stand behind, and people that can believe in more than just showing up. People are going to say, wow, if I show up and I'm under chiropractic care, I'm going to show up better. So I would say that the challenge is a daily challenge, and just getting to meet more people. You know, if it wasn't with this social media network, I would have never had a chance to meet you. And that was a huge challenge of mine, as to actually getting a Facebook, because I like my anonymity. I like to be the guy that is just loves his mother and shows up to work. You know, I like to be that guy. But I know that if I don't make myself present and known and make this film, then we might be missing a chance to educate the masses on the love behind chiropractic.
Well, and I want to move into, or like shift gears and move into what I'd like to call a proud moment. And I think for you, the proud moment would be, you know, this conception of the movie Adjusted. So can you tell us a little bit more about that? You know, take us like right to the ground level. Tell us, I want the doctors to walk away and know exactly how this project is going to go down, how it's going to benefit the profession, and who's going to see it.
Well, it's a good question, Ed. Ground level is without having a lot of belief in myself and without having a lot of belief in chiropractic, adjusted would not be possible. So I believe what I can do is the baseline level of humanity is connect the dots for the viewers and connect the dots for the doctors. And I know that a lot of times the doctors, they have their doctor's talks, they have their weekend events that they do patient appreciation days. They're continuously giving back to their communities, and they're continuously learning and educating themselves further on how to help the patients better. And I believe by the interview processes that I get to do with these big names in chiropractic, that I'm actually going to elevate the profession, because now we're taking that message that sits in seminars and that message that sits in offices, and I believe that now we're going to give that message to everybody else that needs it. So, when you hold that doctor's talk at your clinic and you have 5 people show up, now we're going to be able to hold that doctor's talk for the masses, and millions of people are going to show up.
Mm-hmm. That's an amazing. Yeah.
So, when it comes to the stretch of what Adjusted can do, I know that the documentaries in the health and wellness market right now are performing very well, and I hope this rivals anything that's in the market right now and can perform well for the people that love the documentary market. And then I hope to correspond that with the people that love the documentary market into loving chiropractic.
And I mean, this is an amazing vision that you have here. And so how is this being funded?
Well, that's a good question too, Dr. Ed. The funding has been a struggle up to date. I've had a few people really believe in the message behind what I'm doing and give. It's I have a budget that hasn't been met yet, but what I need when I need it has came to me. So to say that, if it wasn't for a few generous people out there, I wouldn't be able to go to ChiroFest and film these great speakers this weekend. If it wasn't for some charitable people for the chiropractic profession, I would not have been able to shoot the first part of the interview process at Mile High Chiropractic Weekend out here in Colorado. So the funding has been slow, but I think now that I'm starting to get some publicity and that people are starting to catch on that this could be a big winner for the chiropractic profession, I think more people are going to start finding me and start seeking me out and seeking this project out and supporting it more.
Well, and I hope doctors are listening to that today and really soaking that in. Now, they may not be able to give, but everyone knows someone that is possibly, could actually give you that financial support. And I know personally, it's not a ton of capital. It really isn't. And it's really an investment back in this profession. So thank you for that.
Yeah. And up to date, I've been funding this out of my pocket. I actually flew my co-producer out here to Colorado because I believe in it that much that I'm willing to sacrifice myself on a daily basis to make this happen. So if I didn't have the belief system to start something that matters, then I would just be living the life of the guy that goes to the gym, the guy that goes to work, the guy that goes to the grocery store. But I know that with my background and my love and passion for getting people healthy, that with my abilities to create a movie, now we can elevate the consciousness and the reality for everyone.
And what exactly are you looking for? Like, I mean, in terms of funding, I mean, you must be looking at establishing a website. So somewhere like a central hub where people can go. You're looking at, I'm sure there's things that are behind the scenes on production that cost, like that you don't do personally, but you have to farm out. Is that where a lot of the funding is going to be going as well?
Well, yeah, the distribution is going to be one of the toughest challenges for the end road. The beginning of the road is just getting the production done. And to just get the production done, baseline, is about $6,000. To get this thing up and running and to get it out to where it needs to be and to promote it and to get it produced the right way and to have the right people on board with the production, I look at the upper scale of 10 to 15 to maybe $20,000. But realistically, with zero support, I was going to put $6,000 into this over the next year, and I was going to get this thing produced. And that's how much I believe in the project, that I was willing to make the sacrifices necessary to make it.
And I think it's very unique too, because I don't think we've ever seen anything in the profession quite like this. And I'm I'm confident that the quality of the product is going to be substantial as well.
And that's it. My background is in journalism and video production. My degree is in multimedia, graphic communication, and my emphasis within that degree was journalism. Luke Millette, who has come on board with me to help me with this film, he's doing everything out of the kindness of his heart for me because he believes in my vision so strongly that he is helping doing all the edit work. He's showing up on location with me to every shoot, and he is selflessly giving himself to my vision. He is also a film major, originally from Detroit, now he lives in Chicago, and without him, I don't know if I would have been able to believe in myself enough to do it by myself.
Outstanding. And you know what, Jim, before we wrap things up today, what I'd like to do is actually give you or ask you for a little advice. And this is for our doctors. And it's 3 final questions. We'll call this the wow round. And the first one is, I'm interested to know who the greatest, like the person who is the greatest influence on the person that you are today.
Well, it kind of chokes me up a little bit. When it comes to me being who I am, the greatest is my mother. She stuck with me every step of the way. She still sticks with me. So I'd have to say my mother's the greatest influence on my life from day one till now. But when it comes to being a chiropractic advocate and when it comes to enriching the chiropractic profession, I wouldn't have been where I am today without a doctor named Matt Walker. Now,
Dr. Walker is actually going to be a guest soon.
Awesome. Well, Dr. Walker, he believed in me enough, and he gave me one piece of advice that I'll never forget. He said, if you just get out of your own way, Jim, you could change the world.
Wow.
And it hit me really hard when he first told me that, and I didn't take it so well. But now that I look back on it, it's done everything to build me up. And he's the reason that I'm in the chiropractic profession and the reason I started a video career within the chiropractic profession. He believed in me enough to start doing testimonial work for his clinic. And when I started doing the testimonial work, it led to me doing a documentary for Palmer Rugby, which he's the leader for Palmer Rugby. And one thing led to another. I did a technique video for the Blair upper cervical technique, and my video jobs just started growing and growing and growing. And the next thing I know, that I was like, well, I think I've arrived. I think I'm ready to make the documentary that's been in my mind for the past 5 years. And I'd have to say my mother and Dr. Walker are the reasons why I have such good core values as a person, and why I have such a drive to push the chiropractic profession to even greater levels.
And, I love your story, Jim, because, this is, and we're all about stories on this podcast, and thank you for that, is because, you know what, you're immersed in the philosophy and the science of chiropractic. I mean, you're part of this profession. Yet, you're not a chiropractor. This is an amazing story. I love it. And I hope our doctors are soaking this in. Last question I'm going to ask you is for an invaluable resource. What are you reading? What are you listening to?
Well, I'll tell you the reason that this movie is being made, because I read a book by Blake McCoskey. He's the founder of Tom's Shoes, and Dr. Walker actually gave that book to me. And I read that book, and it had a profound influence on me as to the person I am today. If we all start something that matters, and we all give, we're all destined to get more. And I believe that by reading the book Start Something That Matters actually made me start something that matters. And by starting Adjusted is my start to give back to everybody because of what they've given to me.
I love that.
I would say listening wise, I've been listening to some Chiropractic Philanthropist. Your segment with Miles Bosden really blew me away.
It was a good one. Yeah. Yep.
And it gave me some philosophy to share with the doc I work out with here, Dr. Michael Lichty. And it gave me some aspects to share with him as to how to retain patients longer and better ways to keep them under care. So, you know, other than listening to my Pandora in the morning, or I don't own a television. I don't watch TV unless it's football or something, but I have a record player. So in my free time, I sit and listen to records, and I study, and I figure out the best way to make this documentary.
And you know what? I mean, I thank you for that little plug about the podcast, but isn't it really cool? Because I'm confident you've heard many of the episodes that I could talk to a doctor who's been out 3 years that's crushing it in practice. I can talk to a doctor like Mile Bodson, and I always pick up value from both of those. I mean, I even changed something in my practice, in my hiring procedure, based on something I learned from a doctor who's only been out for about 3 years. But I mean, it's again, this is an invaluable resource for doctors. So I hope everyone's listening and subscribed and downloading these. It's only going to get better. I got 50 of these in the can now, and they're waiting to come out. And I'm almost having a hard time just holding them back. I want to release them all at once. So, and I'm going to squeeze yours in actually next week. So to make sure that all the doctors get your information ASAP, and hopefully we can connect you with some docs who can help you with the funding as well.
Excellent. And can I say one last thing as a thank you? Yeah. Well, today is the 119th birthday of chiropractic. It's September 18th, 2014. And I hope everybody out there is getting adjusted and giving adjustments. And something else on top of that is I'm adjusted. Are you? I wouldn't have it any other way.
Outstanding.
Thanks, Ed.
Well, you know what, our listeners, you can go to thechiropracticphilanthropist.com. I'm going to have actually a very extensive summary of what we spoke about today and some more details about the film itself and this project that Jim Chester is working on. And all of the links and resources are going to be there too. Even if you choose you would like to donate, there'll be a link for that as well. So I want to thank you so much for giving back today, Jim.
Well, thanks for having me, Ed. And I think it's a real pleasure to be in the arena that you have with Chiropractic Philanthropist and be able to share my message and hopefully get some supporters out there with the message that we produce together.
Yes, I'm very grateful we made this connection, you and I.
So you've heard the struggles, you heard the successes, and this episode is done. But there's still so much more to come and so much more to learn. Head on over to the chiropracticphilanthropist.com and sign up for our newsletter where you'll receive free practice management tutorials on how to hire your dream team, educate your patients, market your practice, and so much more. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on the Chiropractic Philanthropist.